Now, is it okay to be angry coming out of narcissistic abuse or any toxic relationship? Should you be angry? And my answer is yes. But the question is what do you do with this anger? Well, it comes down to you understanding the purpose of your anger and how to redirect it. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. Now, before we get into this message, if you have not yet followed me on Instagram, I encourage you to do so. Down below, you'll find the link, or you could just follow me at Join the Royal We on Instagram, where you can see background pictures and stories of especially what I'm doing, getting ready to prepare myself to rappel down 19 stories of a building. Yes, I'm going to be facing my fear, which, by the way, is redirecting anger in a way that's going to help me to overcome fears and just become a better, stronger individual. Now, let's get into understanding your anger and how to redirect it and why it's so important. First and foremost, you have to understand what your anger even is. Anger is, for some people, this great mystery, but it's really not. It has a purpose in your life. Anger is a gift, as Rage Against the Machine said. It is, in fact, a gift. It's a gift from God, but you need to understand what the purpose of this anger is. See, anger carries a huge purpose in your life. Anger begins with frustration. Frustration is there to help drive you. Houses would not be built without a certain amount of frustration that goes into every effort of putting the wood together. Cars would not be on the road without the anger that came from the frustration of building and planning and making things work with effort after effort and failure after failure until finally you get to success, and now you're starting to see what the purpose of anger is. That's what it is. Now I want to share with you a story. I want you to imagine with me that you have a child in front of you and you have adults in the room, and in front of the child you give the child a round peg, okay, and some kind of a hammer, and you provide them also with a square hole. And you tell the child, your job is to hammer that round peg into that square hole. Ridiculous, right? Absolutely. What's going to happen is the child's going to start to hammer that round peg into the square hole. Why? Because he's been asked to do so. He's going to notice that the round peg is not going in the square hole, so you're going to see the frustration build. Naturally, the purpose of anger. He's going to try harder. He's going to try and move the peg different ways. Try to hammer it in. Maybe he's not hitting it hard enough, and you're going to see the anger come in. Now you're going to have two types of children, two types of people out there. Some children are going to say, I'm done. This is ridiculous. Y'all are ridiculous. I'm going to go, right? Find something else to do. You're going to have other children that the anger is going to build and manifest, and they're going to keep getting angry until they possibly even cry, trying to hammer that round peg in the square hole. But here's what I want to share with you. The round peg is never going to go in that square hole. You know that. I know that. Child doesn't know that, and the child is angry and crying and frustrated. And to that I say shame on the adults for even putting that test onto that child, right? Shame on them. Shame on them for taking advantage of somebody, a child who has such ambition, such desire to want to make something work. And now watch this. The reason I'm sharing with you this story, which now you might be frustrated at, saying shame on that, right? That child trying to hammer a round peg in a square hole is you and me trying to get along with narcissistically abusive people. It's like trying to hammer a round peg in a square hole. And the worst part about it is that we're also surrounded by people, family members, church leaders, society, other pressures that are telling us, no, you just need to love them more. You need to have more empathy. Oh, they're just difficult people. Or they're bipolar. Or they're cluster Bs, or you just need to try harder. Again, it's like a it's like people surrounding that child saying, you can hammer that round peg into that square hole. You can do it. That round peg will never go into the square hole. You will never get along with a narcissistic, abusive person. Why? Because you are a person of love, caring, and of light, and your responsibility is in the world of being a light, not in the darkness. And you cannot be a light in the darkness, changing the darkness. You cannot take a round peg and hammer it in a square hole. It's not going to work. And so understand now why you're so angry. Because you have been trying to make a relationship work with a narcissistic person, with a toxic individual. All you've been doing is, in this toxic environment, has been driving yourself mad and angry because you're trying to hit that round peg in that square hole. It's never going to go in. You're never going to get along with those toxic people, those toxic family members. You're never going to break through their hierarchy and the way they've decided to live their life. You're never going to break through that wall of being the black sheep of the family. You're never going to dismantle their particular beliefs of superiority and dominance, their dominance hierarchy, because that's what they believe in. You're the round peg trying to break through a square hole. It's not going to happen. But this is why you're angry. So now the biggest question is, what do you do with this anger? Now that we've understand why we're angry and how natural it is, and you don't need to be ashamed of it, it's time to put down the hammer. It's time to put down the round peg, so to speak. It's time to step away from the square hole, right? Understand that, first of all, you have a lot of ambition. Give yourself a round of applause. You are not the type to give up easy. That's why you stayed involved in a toxic relationship for so long. That's why that one child tries desperately to hammer that round peg into that square hole for so long, because you don't give up. You are a fighter. But now it's time to understand the simplicity of it, the logistics of it, that it will never go together. You will never work it out with the toxic relationship. You will never fit in with the narcissist. So now what do you do with this anger? Well, first of all, let your body get rid of it. Do whatever it takes. Get away from the square hole, because that's only going to make you more angry. Get away from the narcissist. It's only going to make you more angry. You've got to now move on. Redirect this anger and this frustration. Understand the importance of it in your life, and now redirect it to things that will work. Redirect it back into yourself. Push yourself now. Push your own limits. Find what motivates you, what moves you, what's going to allow you to become a better person in life. For me, I'm challenging myself to rappel down 19 stories of a building, for crying out loud, in downtown St. Louis. I'm going to be rappelling and facing my fears. That's going to take a certain amount of frustration and anger to even get myself in the elevator to go up the building. Which, by the way, I want to thank a lot of you, because you're supporting me to do this. You're sponsoring me. And I'm doing it because I want to show you how incredible and what a good thing it could be to face your fears, and how it can release a lot of the frustration, a lot of the anger, because you're investing it in something that will work for you. And that is pushing yourself. Pushing yourself will always work for you. Not pushing yourself to hit a round peg in a square hole, right? Not pushing yourself to get along with toxic people. Not pushing yourself to make a narcissistic person better. Pushing yourself to be the best version of yourself. That is something that is possible. That is something that is just around the corner in your life. If you redirect your anger and your frustration, redirect it back into doing things for yourself. So the key to understanding your anger is to redirect it. It's about redirecting your frustration, redirecting your anger. Pick up a new hobby. Challenge yourself again like you used to when you were younger. Don't try to change other people with it. Don't try to make that round peg fit in a square hole. Challenge yourself with your anger, right? Now, obviously, you're also going to find yourself having moments where you're yelling at nobody, maybe driving in the car, right? Rehashing old experiences. This is all ways to blow off steam too. You're welcome to it. You see, the ancient literature of the Bible says this: be angry, but sin not in your anger. So what you do in your own private, personal life, if you need to yell something out, need to beat your chest, There's a lot of people beating their chest in the ancient literature of the Bible, signifying that they're angry. King Kong does that. That's how he signifies he's angry. I'm angry, right? Nothing wrong with that. Beat your own chest, but sin not in your anger. Don't take your anger out on innocent people. Listen, I want to be a part of your healing journey, and I would also like to help you deal with your frustrations and your anger. Down below, you'll find access to my calendar for one-on-one appointments. We could have a FaceTime appointment, a video WhatsApp appointment, or even a telephone appointment or a text message appointment. It's up to you. I'm here for you. Also down below, you'll find access to Royal We Live Chat. You'll also find access to Royal We Fellowship every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. All the links are down below in the description box. If you are not yet a sponsor of me rappelling down the 19 stories, consider doing that. I've already raised enough of proceeds, which all go to Mission St. Louis, by the way. I don't get the proceeds, but what I do get to do is break my fear and redirect my anger. But if you have not yet become a part of that, then I encourage you to consider being a part of that. So you'll find the link to that down below as well. And I'll be back with more videos for you right here on the Royal We.